It's Kip. Welcome to Kip, the Kip Show,
Word up.
all season.
That's the new one now, baby. We gotta switch it up because we don't want no confusion out here.
Welcome to the Kip Show.
What's poppin'? What's poppin'?
What's up, y'all?
Chillin'.
Good.
How y'all been? How's the week?
Blessed.
And highly favored.
Blessed.
Yes.
Excuse me for the corniness of these guys.
Last week you was
Son,
the Lord bless me.
I don't fit in with these
the
corny
Lord,
dudes.
you know how Jesus is. last week, the
You know what I'm
Lord,
saying?
when the Lord, I put my face to the ground and then,
You know what I'm saying?
and to this week he's not blessed. This week is corny, right?
Yo, y'all corny, bro.
Yo, you know how many times I
You
just
see the
broke
abuse? You
down
see the abuse,
reading
people?
this. I read this and I
Listen,
broke down. But today he's not blessed.
Of course.
I gotta reach out to HR because this is out of control. Where's the HR department? Do we have a human resource department?
Oh man,
It's the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit resources? Okay.
Why?
Yeah, so Ruth chapter 3. Chapter 2 was really interesting. I like chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
But yeah, what kind of jumped out on last week?
I want the people to write what's jumping out on them, to them, because we love to hear your thoughts, man. A lot of them bless us, and we would love some of that. But
Yeah.
chapter 2, man, I mean, the character, we were introduced to Boaz, right? Mm-hmm. And just his character and how even in his workplace, he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. He wasn't afraid to talk about God. His men that he worked for him, were also, in a awesome environment because of the fact that he was a godly man. It was safe. It was something where, people just enjoyed each other's company. It's what it looks like. They were all eating together. So yeah, man, just the character of more people here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you saw the character of Ruth also. Like we're further seeing more. It's starting to develop more. Just her. I like the fact that she took initiative. She needed food. Her mother-in-law needed food, so she didn't wait. It's not like Naomi had to tell her go out there, to go glean. She took the initiative. She always took the initiative to, go out there and do something. So I really appreciate that about her.
I kind of appreciate Naomi. Just seeing how you're seeing a change in the behavior by Ruth's obedience and Ruth's faith kind of started a revival in her heart. So now you're seeing her bitterness is being changed to gratitude when she says, "Oh, the Lord,
That's
he
awesome,
remembers me."
Yeah.
You're seeing her unbelief from how she left now turning into faith. You know what I'm saying? And you're also seeing her despair, like when we was talking about, the whole "I don't have any more children and you want a womb," turning into hope because she's seeing that there's a possibility of a posterity. So you're seeing her character being changed, all of Ruth's faithfulness in her character. So you're seeing how, how you live and what you show out, what you're an example of how it can cause other people to change when they see God working in your life. You're like, wow, God is real. Maybe I should submit to this God that's doing such wonderful works.
Amen.
I kind of looked at the communication, the explicit and implicit communications between Ruth and Boaz, right? And we saw what they valued in each other, what mattered. So, and I'm kind of thinking about it in, the practical, Christian life. What communication do you look for from the person that you would probably want to enter into a relationship with, that you would want to court? And how important is the physical aspect, right? And a lot of times we're saying, oh, character, but let's not fool ourselves that the physical doesn't matter, because we live in a very physical, very sexually charged environment, right? Is it difficult? And I guess you two guys could answer it. Is it difficult, like trying to find somebody, trying to date, to get that communication, and not allowing the physical part to kind of blurry the water? So, simplest term, how important is the physical part of meeting somebody, and should it be like, how much weight should that
From
should
a
you
man's
put
point
on
of
that?
view or a woman's point of view?
And if you could quantify it too, give me percentages.
From a man's point of view,
And-
right?
and
'Cause
put-
one,
and
I'm
put
not a
it in-
woman,
Okay.
right? I identify as a man because God created me as a man.
What are your pronouns?
Oh man, man.
Let's not get there, dog.
Yo, but no, it's a good question. As a single man, you always, and I'm going to talk about me. I ain't talking about nobody else. There has to be some degree of physical attraction, but it could be completely different than what the world thinks. The world might want like, some chick with a BBL or something like that, because that's like the new thing now. But that's not what a lot of men are looking for. But I've turned down a lot of women who the world would say are very, very attractive if they didn't have good character. And to me, I'd much rather have someone who has good character and brings peace, but isn't your typical dime. You know what I mean? Like that. I've never been that person that looks specifically for looks, even before God. But
So let me flip it on you.
Yeah.
So if you'll turn down a person that looks good but doesn't have the character, would you court somebody that has character but is a 2?
I say it's important, but it's not It's not the overarching,
Okay, so now
requirement.
it's like, how
But
important?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
So-
if you,
So
How do
if
you
you
quantify
quantify it, like a percentage wise, how would you do it?
what do you mean specific?
Like
A percentage of
50% looks, 50% character,
all
or
right,
you know what I'm
so-
saying?
I would say that 50% looks, right? If I'm understanding your question right, what would that make someone average? You know what I mean?
In
I
terms
don't know.
in relation to character. So that means if you say 50% look, that means it's 50% character. So you're saying you're weighing them equally, character and
no,
looks.
no.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why we ask you like the
not
quantification.
It's not. I just told you I'm not weighing it equally because I turned down looks
Yeah.
because they didn't.
So
have
put a number on
character.
it. Put a number.
So character. I mean, bro,
Yeah. So it's 80-20.
I would
Yeah.
say your character right now in my life,
Listen,
where I'm at filthy is at right now. Your character has to be at least, I would say 75%. Has to be strong character because I'm looking for peace. Right now, I have peace in my life. I don't have a wife and I don't have the physical intimacy, but I have peace.
Right.
I'd much rather have peace and no physical intimacy than physical intimacy and no peace.
drama, right.
You know what I mean? So that's just me.
so 75 character, 25%.
I don't really know if that helps the people. That you have to has to be something.
No, we're
that-
we're just trying to
yeah. I just don't
quantify,
Because for
visualize.
me, I'm like, no, I need you to have a strong character. But what if you're still a dime piece, but you have a strong character? You know what I mean? That's you get.
No,
I
then
guess the best of both worlds.
that's plus.
yeah.
Right.
But yeah, for me,
But we're just
Character.
asking, like, all right, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line and be like, because obviously you said a person could have 100% character and a 1,
Yeah.
you couldn't do it.
no, because I'm a man and physically, I want to have that intimacy with my
Don't
wife.
say you're a man, just say you're filthy.
I'm a filthy man, I guess.
Yo, this guy, he didn't use filthy
tried to
one
throw-
time describing everything. I've been
tried to
waiting.
let
I'm like,
everybody
dog.
You go,
All
bro.
He said
So-
everything
you
but
say it.
filthy.
So, Mike, same question for you. Like, how would you quantify? Like, what would you
mean,
look for? What's important to you?
Again, when I was in the world, it was all about looks because that's the only kind of relationship I wanted. It was all physical. It was carnal, you know. And now that you're saved, you know your spirit is, you know, you're leaning more towards the spirit of God. And you know, I don't know. I've repeated it so many times. The more I go into this walk, I realize I have to align with Him. And when you read the Word, God like I said.
Yo, man, don't give us no Christian
No.
answer.
I'm giving it to you. You remember when we went through with Sarah, and I said Sarah looked good, and I said when we went into the New Testament, I said this is what the Lord saw in Sarah, her humility. You understand what I'm saying? Her grace and all of that. So honestly, it's the spirit first, bro.
So
and
you look for the character. In the
yeah,
spirit.
it got to be
So
the
she's
character.
she's a 2, Mum Ra.
I'm gonna tell you something. She could be a mumra, and the Lord will make her a 10 for me if I follow the Lord, bro. And that's being real. I've dated chicks that was 10s, and their character was 1,
Yep.
and I couldn't stand to be around them. And I dated chicks that was 4 or 5.
No, that's the world.
And that's what I'm saying. But even now, like you see a chick that's a 10, and soon as she open her mouth, she a 1.
Right.
Soon as she comes into a room, her energy's a 1.
So where do you draw the line? You could do a 9-1, or you could do a 90-10.
Like me, I would never put a percentage on it because
It's hard, bro,
Because
to-
I'm really because you got to
just don't
understand when you're dealing.
Yeah, you already put a percentage on it.
Yeah.
Y'all forced me.
That's not where he put it. The percentage, I was like, dog, what you do?
Yo, but I said 75% character, so it's not like I
So
was.
yo, listen, all y'all that's hitting under that 25% mark.
Y'all done.
Get out the DMs. Get out the
Nah, but we'll talk like, and
Yo, but the thing is, they don't know that they 25%ers.
nah, it's real talk. It's like even when you start talking to a person and you start seeing their character, they become attractive. You understand what I'm saying? So something that I'm gonna tell you something. Every man, like, quote unquote, have a type. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when y'all have a type, but you'll meet somebody whose character is just, and you would have never thought I would be with a person of that nationality.
Yep.
A person, with that shape or that size. You thought you would never thought it because you're like, nah, I had a type. But when you meet them, dog, this thing is spiritual, man. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 2 becoming 1. And when you really look at it like that, bruh, character, spirituality, having a relationship with the Lord, like after reading Ruth, like really reading Ruth, like, dog, these things, like what made her beautiful, the things that was being noticed by God is the same thing that was with Sarah. Dog, when she bowed down, humility, it said Sarah called Abraham Lord. You know what I'm saying? That humility, like, yo, when you really start to talk to a person and they have good conversation, they got a relationship with the Lord, they're humble, that's beautiful. So that's what you want to be around.
So you're saying then that means the spiritual intimacy can supersede and override that physical intimacy.
I think
so. You're saying because a lot of people say like, oh, I need that physical in order for me to be like intimate.
I don't think it
physically.
I don't think
she got to look hot.
I don't think it overrides. I think when the spiritual intimacy is there, dog, it
compliments.
Right. It takes the physical intimacy to another level.
Okay.
Because we done had relationships where it was all physical, but your life was hell.
Empty. Right.
Yeah, but there still has to be physical intimacy.
No, I'm not. Listen, just
So that's the question.
saying.
So that's the question.
That's why I was kind of
and
bringing
let me clarify for the listeners.
Yeah.
And when I say beauty, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the perfect face or you're big in certain places. How do you dress? Do you smell good? Are you feminine? You know what I mean? Like, do you what you wear makes you beautiful to me? You know what I'm saying? And like, do you care about yourself? Do you get your nails done? Like, things like that. If you're like a woman, that's what is lacking nowadays. Is that women, they want to be men. We don't want
No,
men.
but I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. Femininity,
But
that's
that's
a
what I'm
given.
saying.
No, that's a
That's
given.
what I'm
That's a given.
saying.
You could have somebody that's feminine and she's busted.
Right.
But no, you can't. I'm saying don't put busted and the feminine. You can't just. To me,
Why not?
No, you could have a woman
Yeah.
that's
Busted
feminine,
how?
that dresses. She's ugly.
She's ugly.
There's ugly
ugly
people.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Her
that
shape is
doesn't
ugly, her face is ugly.
automatically, that doesn't automatically make them a 25% when it comes to the beauty with me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, because you
So-
can elevate yourself by the way if you're confident. You know
So
what
all
I'm
right, so
saying?
you're talking about the intangibles. I'm talking about tangibles.
Right,
When I
but
say
it's hard,
physical,
but-
So then it shouldn't. So now, you want to switch your answer?
No. Listen, the majority with
tried
me
to help
is
him.
That's
character.
why, yo, Doug.
It's always
Okay, so it's
character.
no. All right. So
Yeah.
okay. So the reason I'm asking is obviously because we, even in the Christian context, dude, a lot of it is physical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the reason we see a lot of these relationships, they don't last. Even these marriages that don't last, because the foundation of it is something that is not permanent, right? And I know seasons ago we talked about relationships, whatever. Like the looks don't last,
Yep.
right? And I think what I got from Ruth is like, from God's perspective,
Right.
it has nothing to do with the physical appearance. And that's not even to say that you can't be attracted to somebody that's attractive. Like, it's not even brought up. Like, it shouldn't even be an issue or discussion. But what I'm reading is like what's being communicated to Boaz. This character. What Boaz is communicating to Ruth is this character, and that's what God is seeing. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that comes again, and I agree with what you're saying, but it's a sanctification process to get there.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because again, when you're coming from the world and you're being sanctified by God, like I said, you coming with a whole bunch of baggage and a whole bunch of dirt, and you don't realize that until you start to become more sanctified, and you start, like I said, you start seeing it from God's point of view.
But when you're saying sanctified, you're talking about in the relationship?
No, not in the relationship. I'm
Just
talking about you
personal,
individually.
right?
Yeah,
Because we're reading
individually,
about
right.
two individuals,
Right.
that obey, love God, right? We saw Ruth's love with her confession, right? She said, "Yo, no, I'm going. I forfeit my old life," and we're seeing Boaz's. He's a man of God based on what he's doing, based on how he treats the people that work for him, and based on those actions. So we're getting the evidences to see, we know what type of people they are. But I'm looking at it from God's perspective. Boy meets girl story, because that's what this is. And I'm seeing what matters in God's eyes. That's not to say that you cannot be attracted to somebody. You can't have a type. It's not even talking about that. And that's neither good nor bad. Like, you could be somebody that, this is my type. This is the type of people I'm attracted to. That's fine.
No.
But I'm like, okay, from God's perspective.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why it says it will override it. It
Right.
will always override it. So, like you said, this, you come in with a type. Like, you come from the world. You like, oh no, I like, this is what I like. Da 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 da. But then, as you start to get sanctified and more with the Lord, and you start to realize what this is really about. You understand what I'm saying? What this is a bigger plan. This is something bigger. When you start to, let's say you get into a relationship, like even with this, you see how when they meet each other, how it starts to develop, even to the point of Naomi. You see when Ruth goes back to Naomi, the first thing that Naomi clicks of is, oh, yo, Kingsman, you seeing the bigger picture. Right. That's why I said, if you're always seeing it from God's point of view, it's going to become attractive. The person that you're with, you're going to be attracted to them because it's not, like you said, it's not carnal reasons. It's not because, I want an NBA player, so I got to date a dude that's 6 foot tall. Or I'm 6 foot, I want to be with a 6 foot person because I want a young strap. That's carnal. You understand what I'm saying? When you start to really see it, when you're always looking from God's point of view, someone who in the world before, even in your mind, you probably was like, I would never date somebody outside my nationality. There's people like that. But then you meet this
Or
person.
racist.
Nah, not all of them are racist.
Yes, that's racist. But there's people who don't even do
If you're not gonna date somebody outside
your
of
race.
No,
because of their race,
No,
Right.
not because they're race, but because of the culture.
Exactly. That's racist.
No, it's not. It's like, I
Okay,
want
so-
somebody
so
who
now,
cooks the way
no.
my family cooks.
and here it is.
If
Here's
somebody
and
doesn't,
I'm glad you said that, because I'm gonna bring it back to my whole point. Let's say you have all these things, right? You have all these these
list.
preconditions or
Yes.
whatever. Let's say you meet somebody
Like Ruth.
That don't fit.
that's like Ruth.
Yup.
What are you gonna do?
What
get
you
it.
do?
Let's get it.
Would you allow that? Would you allow that to truncate all of those
No, there's
conditions?
people like that. No, I understand what you're saying.
You understand what I'm saying?
There's people who have their lists when it comes to, especially physical and to the carnal, where they're like, nah, I'm not. Like you said,
I'm not gonna bend.
Right. I'm not gonna even date outside my culture. This is my nationality. I'm a Jamaican. I only deal with Jamaican people. You know what I mean? I'm Chinese. I only deal with Chinese people. And the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with that. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with it. But to me, I'm like, God is always trying to do something bigger. He's always trying to. There's always Ruth is showing you this, dog. There's always this master plan from God's point of view. And sometimes he'll bring it along totally not according to what your standards were.
Right.
Yo.
And it's like, what are you gonna do?
So that's the answer.
And,
Right.
And if you're not,
But you know what? I always tell people, I never, since I've been saved, prayed for a specific look.
nah, dog, you prayed for the
No,
the,
I
the
didn't.
fatties.
What I had, nah.
Nah, I'm playing.
Yo, chill, chill. Yo, chill. Yo, I never prayed for a specific ethnicity or a look. Because, do I have what I'm attracted to? That's different. But I never wanted to miss the blessing.
No, I got you.
You know
I
what
got
I'm
you.
saying?
So
I never prayed
right.
for that.
So you know, my whole thing is like, it's great. That's why I say it's not bought up. It's not bought up. But what is highlighted and what is put in the forefront, if you're faced with that, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna see the Lord is blessing me with this companion that I've been waiting for, and he knows what's best for me and all the Christianese, and then you're gonna go with it even though that person doesn't fit, you know, whatever criteria you had?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna be like, yeah, I mean, she's cool, she's humble, she's this and that, but she or he. So that's what I'm saying. Like, from God's perspective, he's putting it up there. Listen, if you meet somebody that is your type and has those qualities, that's great.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't always work out that way. And let's say the Lord is, as he does in all of our lives through his sovereignty, because he's involved in everybody's life, whether you recognize it or not. And one day he intervenes and brings that to you. Number one, are you going to be able to recognize it? And if you do recognize it, are you going to be in obedience? Because we're going to see Boaz. He's going to have to make a decision, and he's going to have to be in obedience. And so does Ruth. So that's the reason I say that question. And that's the reason I say, like, it's not either good or bad when dealing with the looks. It's just not a factor.
Yeah.
Right.
And is it not a factor in your life, or is it a factor? So, and if it is a factor, then
I think Isaac and Rebecca was the perfect example. You understand what I'm saying? When, you know, Eliezer went, they never saw each other. You know, Eliezer went, got Rebecca, came back, they met, and they became husband. And it reminded me of Adam and Eve. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Adam never saw Eve. You know what I'm saying? But the woman that he made from his side, soon as he see her, he was like, this is exactly, because it came from the Lord. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's what we have to look at. Is this person that's presented to me is coming from the Lord? Because even with Isaac and Rebecca, Eliezer was a representation of the Holy Spirit. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's the first thing that you always have to look at. And how do you
recognize that, right? How do you recognize that? And we're seeing the character, because that's what the Lord looks at. So it's not going to be based on anything else but the character of God.
But the only way you could recognize that is if you take your list or your type, whatever, and give it to the Lord. And that's the thing, because you're gonna have.
You gotta take the list and you gotta burn it.
Yeah, but in terms of you gotta,
write it.
You have to,
right. The Lord is Lord's.
Burn your list, people. Burn it
under the obedience of God,
right?
And that's not under like your filter and your lens.
You still gotta be careful with that word obedience, because I do think the majority of the time God gives people the ability to make a wise decision.
Yeah.
If God is telling you this is your wife, and it's clear, and you still don't because of something that you don't like, that's different. But I think in relationships, God gives us free will to make a wise decision. So I'm saying, when you say disobedience, just be careful, because, and not just I'm just saying, you can't say that somebody, because they're not attracted to her physically, that they're being disobedient.
Oh, yeah.
But they're going to learn when they marry the person that they are attracted to, who doesn't have that character, like, my life would have been a little bit easier with the chick.
But I think that's a majority of the streets.
Yeah,
it's people picking according to the flesh, according to the physical, even in Christianity.
Even in Christianity.
You understand what I'm saying?
I think a majority
that's a
of it is
majority
flesh.
of
Majority,
it's
yeah.
flesh, and that's
get
why,
it.
like you said,
Yeah.
a majority of those relationships, and it's not until again, it's like until you go through the hell with your type, because you constantly, I got a type. You go through 3-4 of your types. It's like, maybe I need to look the other way. You understand? And that's what
But
happens.
just don't say that they're being disobedient.
Yeah, they're
what I'm
they're
saying.
off. Okay, they're not being disobedient. They're
I
off.
feel like the Lord gives us free will to make a wise decision. Whether or not we made a wise decision.
No, but if the
It's
Lord
on you.
bring you somebody,
Unless the Lord is making abundantly clear that this is who you're supposed to marry,
I mean, yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
but how can
Right.
you say it's somebody's being disobedient if that's not the case? They're just
Yeah, no, I'm not
No,
talking
we're
about
not saying
disobedience. I'm
disobedience,
talking about, listen, there's opportunities, you meet people,
Yeah.
they have the right ingredients
Yeah.
based on the Lord's perspective.
Yeah.
So and the question is, do you have the Lord's perspective? Back to what you're saying. I think as singles, you have to continue aligning yourself with God so that you can recognize
Yep.
Right.
100%.
the Ruth type of
100%.
characteristics.
Exactly.
100%, bro.
You know what I'm saying? But let's get into this chapter. Let's go and we're in chapter 3, busy yappity yapping.
Yo, you the one who wanna
Yo, man, I
set the landmine.
ask a simple question, B.
Yo,
Yo, son,
Angelo said
forget about
75-25. I said
75-25. I was like,
boom.
that-
All I heard was boom. I said, man, don't give a number. What? I was sitting there like, please. My man
Yo,
step on
all
that
I'm
line.
saying if
I
this
said, Marcus, he be setting people up.
if
You gotta
this
watch
SD
him,
card
dog.
Disappear, you know why? Yo, you
Alright,
ain't got an SD card. Oh, I don't know.
Come on,
Gone.
Yo, what happened to the footage? Yeah, let's go chapter 3. Let's go 1 to 7.
Then
Wait,
Naomi,
no, let's go 1 to 5.
then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, shall I not seek security for you, that it may be well with you? Now Boaz, whose young woman you were with, is he not our relative? In fact, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Therefore, wash yourself and anoint yourself, put on your best garment, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Then it shall be, when he lies down, that you shall notice the place where he lies, and you shall go in, uncover his feet, and lie down, and he will tell you what you should do." And she said to her, "All that you say to me, I will do."
All right, so what's happening?
I just love how this young woman is like, from Naomi to Boaz, like how they be like my daughter. Like the interaction between the age. It's clearly there's an age gap. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's elder and there's younger. Like she's a young girl, and just how the Lord put so much direction in her life. You know what I'm saying? Like, God puts the older people in your life for a reason. It's to direct you. And it's so important. You know what I mean? Like she had Naomi. She, like, even when she went home, she had good direction. She's in the field. She's working. Her boss, good direction. You know what I'm saying? Like she always had this good direction. And I love the fact that it came from elder people, older people. And this young woman was just always obedient. That's why, I stressed last time, like, will you listen? That's why he's like, my daughter, will you
that's
listen?
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, to me, the Lord is pointing that out because that was so instrumental for her life, for making life decisions. You understand what I'm saying? This counsel that she got from elder, wiser people and just being obedient and listening. Being humble enough to listen. Like, we live in a society now where the kids are the parents and the parents are the kids. You understand what I'm
that's
saying?
true,
Yeah. Like now we live in a world where kids don't even need permission for their parents to do certain things.
Word.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm just looking at how the Lord surrounded this young woman with just direction. But yeah, she, Naomi is giving her direction on
And
how to
it's
approach
important.
Boaz, and
Like you were saying,
she's listening.
the people that you allow to be in your corner, depending on their character, it makes it easier to follow their instruction, right? So I think part of that is on you too for deciding who's in your circle,
So
who's your accountability.
So would you say there's a physical aspect to this lining up here, that the Lord recognized that it is part physical, because he tells her, she says, therefore wash yourself, anoint yourself, and put on your best garment and go down to the threshing floor. Like giving her that instruction, not saying looks wise, but there was a form of something that had to do with the physical as far as presenting herself to this man.
Before, bro.
You understand? The Lord did not neglect that. So, like you said, it's not really the looks, but you coming around and you know what I'm
you
saying?
might have
You
a
just-
lazy eye, but if you smell good, I'ma holler at you.
You might
know
look
what
like
I'm saying?
Biggie, but
Well, I
See?
you might look like Biggie, but you know how to put on some heels
mean,
or something.
you know what I'm saying? If
You gonna
got your
holler?
feet-
Word up, you holla at
if you got
Biggie.
your
You holla at
She look
Biggie
like
with some
Biggie.
heels.
Watch.
Yo, Biggie, I
Biggie-
can't think of
Biggie.
Biggie's face, bro. Chill.
You see?
I can't think of Biggie's
Yo,
face
you was
as a
right.
female.
You was
Dog.
yo, you was right.
I told you.
You told me what? You told him what?
Yo.
I told you that 25%.
Let's go.
Biggie was
So
5%. So that ain't working.
so I think we spoke about this last week, how Naomi was very considerate of securing a future for Ruth, right? So we see that she even mentions that.
Security.
So she talks about, this guy is our relative, right? And to me, I see 3 months has passed, and Naomi's like, we gotta do something.
Yeah, he ain't step up.
We gotta do something.
They made the first move.
And she's fully in the right to do it. And we saw that same example with Tamar and Judah. Although she chose a negative way of doing it, but she was in the right. So she's pretty much saying, listen, get dressed,
Get proactive.
take off you gotta understand, she was probably still in her widow mourning garments. So she was like, take all of that off. You're about to propose to this man. And that's what this whole act is. She's pretty much gonna go to Boaz and be like, marry
Make a
me.
proposal.
Yo, she
And make a
proposed to him.
proposal to Boaz. So, and in any culture, when something like that's gonna happen, you have you got to put something nice on, right? You got to prepare yourself, because you're also giving out a message. You also want to communicate something that's not verbal. So there's ways that you communicate something that's physical, right? So the outfit, her preparing herself, her putting the oils on her, that's something she's trying to communicate to Boaz.
To make it smell
So
good.
now somebody that's wise and older, like Mike was saying, is now imparting and instructing the younger woman about what to do.
So, and that's a great point, like what Mike brought up and what you guys are saying. Like, that is an aspect of like a woman making herself look, pretty or looking nice, looking feminine.
Exactly.
Looking feminine. That's the whole thing. You're not going, above and beyond looking crazy, but it's like looking feminine to show you, listen, I'm a woman and I'm attracted to you or whatever, and to bring that, because nobody wants someone smelling like a fish tank, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the whole thing, and putting on proper attire and all these things. So
It's all about part of communication.
And what I
It's
think is
practical
important too
application.
for the ladies to know is that there's nothing wrong with making it known that you're interested.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. I do believe that.
Yo,
that
dudes are savages, but you gotta
I
be
but no-
careful.
no.
I feel like you gotta be careful.
No,
with
if
that,
you
'cause
if you interested in a savage, then that's on you. What I'm saying is, and we see it a lot in the churches, chicks don't want to make anything that would resemble interest. They don't want to do, because they feel, the man's supposed to be the one to pursue. And yes, the man should pursue, but it makes it a lot easier if you let the man know that you're interested. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
nobody wants to be rejected. You know what I mean? She went out of her way to not only make it known that she was interested, she literally proposed to him. And guess what?
Right.
He told her he will tell you what to do. Either
Was-
he was
was
going to
Ruth
tell her
interested?
to.
Yes.
I mean,
you said
For-
what?
was Ruth interested?
interested?
Yes.
there was never anything that specifically said she was interested in him as a husband, right? But she was just listening. She
She
understood.
was listening to what.
Yeah, I'm not.
Taking
Yeah, I
wise
think,
counsel.
like I said, I think it was just obedience to.
Yeah, she understood what
Right.
what came with the husband. Rest. protection.
So
you know,
so I see it like she was she understood that this is safe because she knew what type. So again, interested, like, oh, I'm attracted to him, like none of that is
No,
there.
no,
No,
not that.
no,
Not
no,
we're
no,
not
right,
talking
right,
No,
about.
understand what I'm
yeah,
saying.
We're not talking about.
Like, so my question is, if Naomi didn't tell her to do that, would she have done it? Or was this based on her being obedient to Naomi?
Well, I think it was based on her being obedient to Naomi because she didn't even understand the culture in terms of how, like, the way what Naomi explained to her was the traditional cultural way of doing things, which she had no idea. You know, so I think it was part of obedience,
Right.
And because of like the greater picture that Naomi understood that she didn't fully understand,
Right.
But she's like, so in her faith in God, because she trusted.
And I think that's what
Okay,
it is.
but my question is there any indication of her feelings towards Boaz?
No.
in the text?
No.
That's what I
Romantic
mean.
feelings?
Like, we don't know.
No.
Yeah,
No,
romantic
we don't
feelings.
know.
We don't
that.
know.
We don't know that.
Her feelings. Like, I didn't get anything in terms of what Naomi felt towards Boaz other than
Kindness.
recognizing that he's kind.
Right.
He provides protection, he provides provision, and
And
he elevated me
he
to
was-
a position of
he was a man worthy of being submitted to.
so based
You
right.
know
So
what I mean?
based on
She
those,
knew, I can submit to this man from his character. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's why I'm saying, like, based on those facts that she has and she experienced, I don't have a problem obeying what Naomi's gonna tell me.
Would you think she would have done it if it was the opposite? If Boaz wasn't like that? Just out of obedience to Naomi?
I think we
mean,
would.
I
I think
don't
she
know.
would have.
That's the reason, and the reason I'm saying that is because, again, I think her commitment was to God. You understand what I'm saying? Like how you're stressing so much about, like, and it's like, when I was giving my answer, I'm like, bro, when you're committed to God, what you might have things going your way or have things how you might see it, but I think, let's say even if she did have it, I don't think she stepped on it because her commitment was to God. And she knew this relationship that I really have is through Naomi. Naomi is really my parent figure. You understand what I'm saying? She's the
So
one
that's like a
that's guiding me through.
Abraham Sarah
What
scenario.
you mean by that?
You said let's say if Boaz wasn't the guy, like he wasn't a follower of God or he wasn't a good man. I see the position of like when Abraham told Sarah, lie for me and do something, and out of obedience she did it,
Right.
even though it was wrong.
Right. That's
so
why,
I understand
that's
what
why
you're
I'm
saying.
like, I think her devotion, because from chapter 1, I think that's why that's so important what she says. My devotion is totally to God and to my mother-in-law, bro.
No, and I agree with you.
You understand what I'm
because-
saying? So it's like, even if, let's say Boaz wasn't it was like, nah, Naomi, I'm devote. This is where my devotion.
So now look.
my loyalty's
So
here.
now look at it like this: the same way that Naomi is trying to secure Ruth and making sure she's good. Ruth is being obedient, and she's actually being selfless in the situation. She was like, "Yo, this benefits you,
Right.
And I'm trying to preserve the line of your son,
Right.
Technically, like, yo, this agreement, this covenant of marriage is broken. Like, I'm free to do whatever I want.
That's what I'm saying.
Technically, like legally, even if you look at it. So even her, in her position, Boaz being an older gentleman, and the reason I kind of brought it up where you could tell, like, wait, 3 months past, nothing is happening. Now, Naomi's like, Ruth, you have to act. Right. And she was able to act because she was in the right to, because of the whole Levirate law. I see her being selfless. Like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that because of all of this, that it's still...
And I think
will carry that
I
legacy.
honestly think because she was a woman of her word, bro. Her devotion was to Naomi.
right.
That's what she said when she left, bro. So Naomi's like, okay, now get up. She's like, bro. That's why Naomi gave her everything, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. It wasn't, like you said, she didn't fully need to understand everything because she's like, your dog, I'm following this God, and I'm following my mother-in-law who is, who brought me to this
who
guy.
knows about
And
this
I
guy.
made this vow to my mother-in-law when we left, bro. I'm following her. So Naomi, I'm starting to see Naomi's character where, like I said, Naomi could have just kept that. Like, yeah, just stay by me, work for me. You could go out there, you could keep working. We could, she could have did whatever, but she was selfless also.
Yeah, both
you
of
understand
them
what I'm
were
saying? Yes,
selfless.
she was benefiting,
Yeah,
but it
both
was
of them were
like the
selfless.
way they was looking at each other, they had this devotion to each other. So that's why I'm like, even if Boaz, let's say we didn't know nothing about Boaz. Boaz was never even, his character was never even broken down to us. I think Ruth would have still did it. Because she was devoted to God and she was devoted to Naomi,
and
bro.
the thing is, and you could see that just on a horizontal plane where you still, there's still many cultures that have like
Arranged marriages.
Where it's like, because of my culture being this way, and I've been arranged to marry this guy, and they remain to that, and they're obedient to it because of our culture.
That's it.
And I also do like with the kindness, I think that it might have grown because only in terms of Ruth's I think, although it doesn't say that with Ruth attracted to Boaz, I'm thinking of because of his kindness, his character, because there was a poll that was sent out, like it was a mass poll on what is the most attractive thing to a woman that they want to see in a man. Was it they like with the whole grading, is it looks, is it money, is it power, is it physique, bodybuilding, and overwhelmingly 80% said kindness. They want a man that's kind to them.
Yeah.
So it
Sounds good.
it sounds good. But this was, a few years back. This
Did that
poll.
poll-
This
did that
poll was
poll
from
go out-
1950?
Yeah, this poll was
No,
a
did they
few
send
years
the
back.
poll to the hood?
No, it wasn't in the hood.
What do you think the hood would have said? I don't want to start now. Let's go. So verse 6. Let's
yeah.
go verse 6. So what?
To 13.
Yeah.
So she went down to the threshing floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law instructed her. And after Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was cheerful, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came softly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. Now it happened at midnight that the man was startled and turned himself, and there a woman was lying at his feet. And he said, "Who are you?" So she answered, "I am Ruth, your maidservant. Take your maidservant under your wing, for you are a close relative." Then he said, "Blessed are you of the Lord, my daughter, for you have shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning, and that you did not go after young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you request, for all the people of my town know that you are a virtuous woman. Now it is true that I am a close relative. However, there is a relative closer than I. Stay this night, and in the morning it shall be that if he will perform the duty of a close relative for you, good, let him do it. But if he does not want to perform the duty for you, then I will perform the duty for you, as the Lord lives. Lie down until morning."
So, Ruth being obedient, right? So she follows Naomi's instructions. She was like, wait till, so this is the part of now it's the threshing floor, right? So usually, they would go out into this area where it was flat and they would thresh the harvest and the wind would blow. But at night, if it's a lot at night, they would kind of sleep in front of the harvest so that people wouldn't come steal.
Yeah.
So again, you're seeing this guy, he was a wealthy man, but you see him working.
Yeah.
Right? You see him there. So, Naomi understanding how things roll, she was like, yo, wait, after he eats and, he's worked, he's going to be tired and he's going to fall asleep and you're going to go there. And she's also telling her, listen, you have to be discreet in all of this because obviously you don't want people to see and have the wrong idea, which is what always happens. Not understanding what's really going on. They might see something and also the danger of you traveling by yourself. So, she kind of breaks all that down. And pretty much what Ruth is going to do is to propose to Boaz.
Yep.
So she goes, and obviously this is some type of ritual where it's understood in that culture at that time. So she goes and lays at his feet, which is definitely an action of humility, an action of submission, right? So she's pretty much telling Boaz, listen, I'm submitting myself to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I look at my feet, make sure ain't no shorties there. I'm like, Lord, I've been praying for a shorty. Where's she at? You know what I'm saying? Still nothing. I don't know what's going on, bro. No, yo, but that humility is out of control, bro. Because I love when Naomi told her, he will tell you what to do after you do your part. He could have easily said, I'm not feeling it. No, because people don't understand. Like the law here, literally, if he were to have a son with her, it wasn't necessarily his name that was going to be in the lineage. It was the name of the dead person. Mm-hmm. The dead person was going to get all of the land, all of the everything that followed. Mm-hmm. So, which is one reason why we're going to read why the other guy denies it. And so this is even telling you more about the character of Boaz and who he is, that he's okay with raising somebody else's lineage or raising somebody else's children per se. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So like you said, this could have went left. Boaz could have been like, nah, I'm good. Right?
Yep.
And again, I mentioned the 3 months where it was taking a while and Naomi decided to take action. Because I think Boaz took himself out of the equation.
Because of the other dude.
Because of the other dude and because he was older.
I think he thought because he was older that she wasn't interested.
Right.
Yeah, he was like, yo, I'm an older guy. That's why he was like, yo, I'm surprised. Another thing that impressed her, I'm surprised that you're not going after the younger guys, whether rich or poor, but even a younger guy, right? So I think the fact is that this wasn't just something, I took myself out the running.
Why is it that you think in America women have such a big issue with age when it comes to older guys where, because I am on a dating site and the women from other countries, whether they're 20, 21, 22, they are reaching out to the older dudes. You know what I mean? And I wonder why
They got less options.
Nah, I don't think so.
Why is it
I think it's cultural.
It's cultural, right? Because they understand what comes with an older guy.
The thing about it used to be like if you even look at most relationships, the guy is older. It don't have to be like crazy older. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The age might not be like Boaz and Ruth, but if you technically look at most like relationships, the guy is, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5 years is older. What I'm looking at it in the sense of like times has changed. Like, I think back in the days, like even in American culture, it probably was like that. But you're dealing with modern times now where, like you said, you got dating apps, you got all these different things where people have access to more choices. You understand what I'm saying now? So now it's like, not like back in the days where, we didn't have that much choices, like you said, but I think it's now you're living in a modern era where there's more choices. But
what is the stigma behind being with a dude that's, I don't know, 15 years older?
Because young is always better than old, B.
I don't know if that's a stigma. There's a lot of women that are in their 30s and they're dating guys that's in their mid 40s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most relationships is like that. I don't know.
I mean, you see the 70-year-old and the, you know what I'm saying?
And that's always frowned upon by women. When they see because they're like, oh, the 70-year-old just wants the young woman. It's always frowned upon by women.
No, but
men don't really care.
But at that age, it's just a warm body, like
that,
David.
That's all that is. But what I'm saying, I think, yo,
remember
I'm
David was dying.
You haven't been on these dating
get him
sites.
a warm body next day.
I want to do from 25 to 30. What if the dude's 31, but he has tremendous character?
But that's
what if he's 32 and he has tremendous character?
It's the apps that created that.
I know.
You understand what I'm saying? Not the apps. You can, like you said, you could put 25 to.
I mean, the apps you have.
Back in the days, it wasn't like that.
Is it a click? Yeah, you got to click your preference.
Yeah.
The apps make you click your preference.
You literally write down. I want this to this, and that's it.
That's what I'm saying. It's because you're dealing in a technology era where it was like you said, back in these days, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like you said, it was choices. So yeah, there was younger men around, but it's not like now where, like you said, you could go on an app and you literally could put 30 to 35.
But what I'm saying is, why is that?
I mean, I personally think, it's the moral depravity.
That's what I said.
The decaying,
Yep.
of this world. where people just want. It's all about physical. It's all about the flesh. That's how come we see that's how come that whole show of Cougars came out with older women want to deal with younger men because it's all about a physical relation. Because that younger dude cannot really provide any spiritual covering or teaching or wisdom or protection. All he could provide is the.
Yeah, we know.
You know what I'm saying?
Are we talking about the world?
That's how it's
the
about
church
church
too.
I don't know about the church.
Because if
but I
we're
know
talking about the world,
it's like that. Yeah,
everything
that's
is
how the world-
perverted in the world.
Yeah, it's
Bro,
perverted.
I'm on a Christian dating site, bro. I'm telling you, it's Christian women.
But a lot of people on the dating site, they're not all Christians. They just want Christian people.
Yeah, I think
It
they're
don't
Christian
matter.
by name.
If they think that they're Christian,
Yeah, I think most
know
of
what
them
I
are
mean?
Christian by name.
And then
It goes back to the original conversation. We all gotta have preferences, right? So if the site wants you to put something, you're gonna put something that you prefer, and obviously, you prefer somebody that's maybe your peer
Right,
or
right,
younger.
right.
Like, as a man, if you're single, you're not gonna prefer a woman that's 10, 15 years older than you.
right.
As men,
I mean, but think about it.
the preference or the attraction is gonna be towards
But when
younger
it comes
women.
to that, it's more because you still want to have children. You know what I mean? When it's the other way around, the man can still provide you with children. He provides you with a home. He probably has a profession. He can provide financially. But still, that's not enough for a lot of these women. Because like you said, I think it's more they focus on the physical. So for a man,
the reason I'm saying because men do that too.
men do what?
Would be attracted to younger women.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
No, but he's saying it in a sense where the attraction to the younger woman would be because of to bear children.
What they can
Who, the
provide.
guy?
Right. No, the woman. Like, so the guy looking for a younger woman is like, okay, to bear children. He's saying, what sense does it make for the older woman to be with the younger guy? Because, like, obviously, as you get older, it's harder to bear children. So
That's
that's what
only the
he's trying to
physical
say,
part.
right? So that's what he's saying in the physical component. When a guy is looking at a young girl, you know what I'm saying? It's more like, yo, for children's sake. You know what I'm saying? But in the opposite, it's like that don't make sense because it's with the woman. So to me, I think it's Proverbs. Remember the Proverbs with the chick, and she see the young stupid man walking by, and she's
Proverbs
like, "Yo,
10,
I'm
I
gonna
think.
right." That's what I think. I think there's an underlying spirit where the older chicks, you young and you dumb. I could run over you. And I'm not saying that's all instances. That's why I'm not. Make sure I'm not saying because you do have relationships. I know personally relationships where the woman is older and it's a beautiful relationship. But what I'm saying, I'm to talk to your point when you're looking at it in the mass. I'm like, no, you understand that him being younger, you could kind of run it a little bit. You know, it's a power thing. You know what I'm saying? And Proverbs, if we get to that, that's why it was like she see the young man who's dumb and naive, and then she tricks him because that's really the spirit behind it.
Right. Want to rule over him.
Word
that's
up.
That's the curse from
That's
Eve.
the curse from Adam and Eve. That's it.
So he says, "Yo, who's this?" He was startled. He woke up and she said, "I'm Ruth, your maidservant. No longer I'm Ruth the Moabitess." You see, she kind of seeing,
Nice.
she identifies herself differently now.
I like the fact that she came softly. You know,
Gently.
the words that says she came
That
soft.
feminine,
That feminine, soft.
Yeah.
Like you ever been sleeping and somebody, wake up before you and they just knocking it, they just making mad noise like you not right there in the bed sleep.
So his
So but just a quick point, like it showed that femininity. You know what I'm saying? She came softly. She knew he was sleeping. She uncovered his feet. She lied down. It wasn't about this big commotion. She didn't make a big commotion off of it, even though this was a proposal. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Because we see proposals now where it's like, oh, super duper, just this big extravagant.
discreet.
It was very discreet. It was between him and her. It was on the
Private.
low. You know what I'm saying? It was totally anti what you see in this world here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was so
point.
private.
I
it
like
was
that.
intimate.
And there
It
was
so
nothing
intimate.
sexual about this
Nothing.
interaction.
Right, nothing.
I know some people try to break down, oh, they came and had sexual relations. They did not have sexual relations. It's literally exactly what she said. She laid at his feet, covered herself with the whatever the
corner of the blanket.
corner of the
I
blanket.
mean, she had a foot fetish. It was obvious.
Yo, you out of order, dog.
So here's what's interesting. What made her even more impressive to him? because he says, "For you have shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning." So he was more impressed by the fact that you had all these options and you had all these opportunities, but you chose, again, your loyalty to Naomi.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You actually forsaking
Yep.
everything you had before to follow her. I was impressed when you did that. You came to our country.
Right.
Now you're even to the point of obedience, gonna allow this, Levirate Redeemer cultural situation to happen.
Right.
When you could have went after them young bulls.
Young bulls.
You know what I'm
Strong
saying?
back.
So he was like, man, you impress me more now than at the beginning. And I was already impressed.
Yeah,
and I showed you how, your character affected me. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty interesting.
Total
So
selfless move.
This was the end of that 3-month courtship period, right?
yeah. Because this guy's a gentleman. He wasn't going to do nothing. He was like, yo, I'm old, B.
He's like, we getting married. You showed
No.
me enough of your character, we getting married.
Nah, you know what?
I'm saying?
I honestly think it was, like I said, it's just obedience. Like, you're seeing the character of two people that are really devoted to the Lord. Their character is obedience, humility. Like, all these characteristics are so important because I think this is what guides their life. You understand? When other things could easily come and mud up the decision, like you said, it could have been, he's old. That would have mud up the whole decision to go after Boaz. You understand what I'm saying? But because of constant walking with the Lord, and I'm obedient to the Lord. I'm obedient to the Lord. You see how, God, he's a good shepherd. You seeing God's shepherd just taking these people along.
So, like, how you saying
they're
it?
navigating through the streets.
How God's sovereignty, it only operate well in your obedience. Right? Like we could see
your
God
will,
is behind the scenes orchestrating this. But imagine if those people were stiff-necked rebellious.
That's what I'm saying.
That it would have just ripped them pages out and be like, yo, man, pick two other people. Let me see who's obedient.
Right.
Because, like we read in Genesis, God's eyes is going to and fro. Yo, let me see who's special.
Right.
That's why he decided, yo, your word is going to last forever. Ruth, this story of Ruth is going to be around forever.
Yo, I'm going to tell you something. Like, when you're reading Ruth don't say a lot.
No.
There's no idle word.
Right.
Everything that comes out of Ruth's mouth is just pure obedience, humility. Like, you don't have no idle word coming from Ruth, because she was really devoted to this God. And it's just beautiful to watch God navigate her life and, bring her a husband.
So he was honest in terms of, listen, there's somebody else that's closer to me. Even in this situation, this guy is obedient. And he's like, she brought it up to him. He's like, yo, I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that you're good, right? But there's somebody else. Like, I can't promise you. He's like, yeah, I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to do everything to make this happen.
Right.
Because there's somebody else that's in front of me or closer to Elimelech than I am. So he tells her, chill for the night. I don't want you going out there, people to see, again, that discretion, him thinking about her, him thinking about her reputation,
her safety.
He says that everybody know how virtuous you are, right?
Yeah.
You're a
that's the whole
virtuous
idea.
woman.
He said the whole
Because of
town.
a character he loves.
And that
He was protecting her
I'm
character.
going to preserve that
Yeah.
because somebody might see this and not understand
Yeah.
what's happening. They might think like, oh, she sneaky linked, went and met Boaz and they was doing X, Y, Z, but that's not what it was,
that's not
because
what it was.
you're just seeing something and not understanding the full context of what's happening.
Very
So,
similar to like how Joseph was protecting Mary.
Right.
right.
Where he was like, where it says he's going to put her away
it was
privately
privately.
because he wanted to
Right.
protect the
And he
reputation.
carried that. Jesus had to deal with that.
Right.
When they were coming at him, which is crazy. So, so, he says, chill. In the morning, you could dip out before anybody could see you. Where we finished off at.
And I like his character because he could have just snaked that. He could have schemed, but he was like, nah, bro, I got to deal business. Like, you know what I mean? This is, you know what I mean? Like, this ain't just marriage. Because, like, let's say even if he was feeling her and it was his attraction and all of that, he still was like, nah, I'm going to do this legally. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm not
gonna
cutting
do it.
corners.
I'm gonna do it the proper way. I'm not gonna
Right.
go around and
Right.
shiest anybody. He was like, he even put her on. That's why he was like, Naomi says he's gonna tell you everything, and he laid it all out. There was a total transparency there.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? He didn't hide nothing. It was like, nah, dog. There's a
And it's interesting. Naomi was like, yo, go there, do this, and he's gonna tell you everything. But she did it, and she was like, yo, you're this, that, you gotta do this. She didn't wait for him to say anything.
Oh, okay.
She said it.
right.
And the reason I say that is because like she was in the right. Like I have a right to this redemption.
Okay.
You know, just like Tamar, except she dressed as a harlot
Right.
and did what she did because she had a right. So it's this integrity thing, right?
Oh, with Tamar, with Sneak.
Tamar, it was sneaky. Yeah, she did it
yeah.
the wrong way, but she was
had
in
the
the right because at the end she had the integrity, and Judah was like, ah, man, yeah, I messed up. I'm off. XYZ. You know, we know the rest of the story, but
But I like that the most. Of what Michael saying in terms of that. But there is a relative that's closer. That obedience, because it's like you seeing that he's not basing it on the circumstances or emotions or feelings or anything. He's like, yo, I gotta stick according to the word of God.
he's obedient. Yeah,
Yeah, that
He
integrity is there.
like I gotta stick to that.
and I'm
You know?
glad that he told her so that when she go back, she could tell Naomi.
Yeah.
Like, yo, relax. I'm gonna do everything that I can. So he's providing her information.
Yeah.
So that she could be comforted. She's already comforted in his character and who he is, and that's I think that's the reason that she was able to do that, right? So you know, a question is like, you know, you see this woman asking the man in marriage. So now, you know, let's apply it now in
Tradition.
practical terms. And traditionally, the man would ask the woman for marriage. So, is there anything wrong with a woman asking a man to get married?
No, you're supposed to. Read Ruth.
Nah,
I'm playing. Because when you look at Isaac and Rebecca, you know what I mean? Isaac, Eliezer came with the phantoms and the... He came with the phantoms and the whole parade to present to Rebecca. So it's like, dog, I think it's just obedience to God. You know, so like, let's say you are a woman, you're in a situation where, like you were saying, Ange, taking the initiative, because that's what we see something about Ruth. She takes the initiative. You know what I mean? She initiates things. So when Naomi told her to do that, she could have been like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm above that. But she was never a woman who would take the initiative. You understand what I'm saying? Because she was obedient to God. So if you're really having a walk with God, God will put something in your spirit. And again, I think you stress it all the time. It's not going to look, sometimes it's unconventional, bro. Yeah. And it's about faith. Are you going to take that step of faith? So
what
Yeah,
you
I
say?
think-
You say no?
yeah,
Hold on,
B.
did
Nah.
So slide and fill DMs, baby.
You know, y'all can come in the DMs, but I don't want nobody proposing to me.
Why you don't want
Wait,
nobody to
wait.
propose to you?
Nah, because as a I don't know, to a
Yo.
more traditional man, I want to do that.
Yeah, he's only talking to the 24s and below, baby.
Doug, if you were 8, 9, or 10 or 11,
So you
want to propose in the
you
DM?
don't see women proposing to men.
You see it every now and then.
But I'm saying
I
you're
would
not. You would
against that?
I wouldn't want that.
no,
Because
personally for you, you. But
Personally,
I'm just
yeah.
talking about in general, not even personal.
I don't. In general, no. I don't think a woman should propose to a man.
Oh, okay. Well, I think there's no problems with it.
Yeah,
I think there's no problems with it, and at least showing interest. Like that's like she's definitely this year is definitely a proposal, but you know a lot of times men may be totally clueless. You see that all the time. Men may not be aware,
That's
and
where
whether
I
it
was
be
going.
like sometimes it's out of intimidation where a guy won't really confront a woman or fear or what have you, or he may so you see there are these aspects. And, and sometimes the woman just allowing, like, listen, like, I am interested in you and showing that. And I think it's
That's it.
definitely.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you
This is in your
something.
court,
I
man.
think it happens more than the other way around. But the way it comes out, it still comes out traditional. You got women that's been with men, they be like, "Where's the ring?" They'll throw the hints. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
be like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
yo,
that's true.
go do this." And be like,
Right,
"I
right.
don't see no ring on this finger." That's her way of saying,
Yeah, yeah,
dog,
yeah.
I'm
That's
ready.
true. That's
It's
different.
there.
That's-
But as far as the proposal, we'll do it traditional because we live in this modern world. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But majority of
So-
those relationships be women that be like, yo, straight up and down to tell a dude.
All right, so let me bring
I've
it
been
down a
with you 6
notch.
years.
Like marriage, obviously, marriage is the more serious. So, a woman asking a man to go out to show interest, kind of like Ralph said. Boaz removed himself from the situation based on the information that he just had in his
Okay,
head.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So like he
yeah.
was like clueless. He was like, yo, this woman is great. Her character, her reputation is great, but she's probably I'm eliminating myself. So I pose that question. So let's bring it down with just dating. If a woman to ask a guy on a date, because even traditionally the man is supposed to, right? Traditional, whatever.
right.
But I say that, my answer is like, no, I think that's totally fine in terms of courting or approaching a guy. But it should be based on the information that you have about the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Ruth understood the type of guy that Boaz is, and knowing whether it went left or right, you would still have my best interest in mind. And you're not going to take advantage of me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Whereas, a woman could be like, oh, he's not making a move. I'm going to make a move. And his character is scumbaggish.
Yeah.
And then now that you made yourself vulnerable to him, he takes
advantage.
advantage of you.
Right.
And then you get rode hard and hung up wet. I always wanted to use that.
I never even heard that in my
You know what
life.
I mean? It's like he had that in the back pocket,
Yo, he
waiting
got an
for
index
you.
card.
You know-
He got an
you
index
know how
card
many-
with a note on it.
Word up! I think he practiced that.
Then we say, I'm going to say it right
Oh,
after
man,
verse
where did
27.
that come from, dog?
You know how many chicks get rode hard and hung up
Never
wet?
heard that.
Facts.
Yo, I used to work with my coworker. He used to say that all the time. It's this old southern guy.
You have to break it down.
No,
Road
please
hard.
don't break it down.
Just
It says it when
I
it
don't know.
says.
said-
I don't want to break that down right here.
picture it
That's
literally.
after
Picture it
hours.
literally, right?
Kip
right.
after hours.
You
So
get
now-
hung out to dry.
So to me, I'm looking at it
right.
like, listen, Ruth was safe and secure and being vulnerable to Boaz. So, I say all that to say, like, women, understand who to be vulnerable with. Understand who to, put yourself in that position in.
Bro, that's
Because it might
hard
be a
for them, bro.
situation
No,
where,
it's not.
listen,
Yes, it
he might reject you, but he'll still protect you, protect your reputation,
That's
and not want to hurt you.
I don't
That's
believe
what I mean.
it's hard because, again, I think Ruth is a perfect example of how you should live your life. If you're living your life a certain way, bro, the decisions you make, you understand what I'm saying? The decisions you make is going to be led by the Lord. And not to say it's going to be perfect, but it's not the percentages is not going to be like what you're saying. So I think it's more of what's your relationship with God before you're courting and dating. Like, are you serious with God? And I think if your walk is close with God, how could God lead you to? You understand what I'm saying? And I think Ruth, you're seeing that example with Ruth, where all these things are so, like Boaz is coming. He's like, yo, I thought you was gonna be with a young guy. She's like, dog, I'm being obedient to the Lord.
And it'll work.
Naomi is guiding me. I'm in this pocket right here.
And it works out.
Everything is working. Every time I'm obedient, it works.
No, and that's why I preface it with
Proof is in the pudding.
before you put yourself out there, dog, get all the information.
Yep.
And that's the biggest problem. You see it in dating that people don't even know how to court properly. They don't know how to ask the proper questions. How to really get to know someone to find out if they're a virtuous person, if they have, faith. If they don't know, they ask dumb questions like, "Oh, what's
Questions,
your favorite
they just
color?"
go through the
Question.
timeline.
Yeah, they go through the list.
this is a
or
nice
whatever.
picture.
It's looks.
It's
Yeah.
looks.
It's looks.
So that's the biggest thing. They don't know how to communicate. Communicate their heart transparently.
Right.
And that's the biggest problem.
And that's why Boaz, what will be your witness? Like, what are people gonna say about you? That's how Boaz got his information. He was
Right.
like, I'm getting this from other people and it's consistent.
Right.
And then when I, like you said it last time, when I deal with you, it's still consistent. And then he meets her, at the threshing floor, and it was like, yo, you surpassed my expectation.
Right.
Now it's like, yo, dog, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why, and I'm bringing it up. Like, obviously, tradition, but fam, like we have liberty. So a woman could, if she has the right information, if she has the good information, and she understand, the character, all of that. Like, I'm using this as an example. You're safe to maybe approach a guy.
Yes,
Because even if he's not interested, he's not gonna hurt you.
Right. He's not.
That's
gonna,
what I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, he ain't
Right.
gonna.
And that's
put you out
that's
there.
a big problem in Christianity when you made that point, because many Christian women will not,
It's
because they're
hard.
stuck in this culture.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
right.
exactly what
Because
it is.
that's
you know
what
what I'm
it
saying?
is.
They're stuck in this culture that the man has to make the move. So I'm gonna just sit here and look pretty and not say anything.
But Ruth bucked the system from when
Right.
she left with Naomi.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Because
Orpah was, you know what I'm saying? Orpah was like, I ain't gonna do this.
Right.
Ruth was like, psst.
Because like you said, in Moab, that's probably how it got. Like you said, it was all about beauty. It was all about making up. It was all about all of these other traditions. And she's coming here, but it's because she humbled herself. That humility is carrying her through her life, B. Everywhere she goes, she's humble, she's teachable, she's grateful. Like, those characteristics is carrying her through where she's making every right decision, dog. Every right decision, bro.
And that one quick point when, like you mentioned in verse 13, when it says, "Stay the night and in the morning shall be," that if he will perform the duty of a close relative for you, good. Like you said, he's not here to hurt you. So he says, if this closer relative, this closer kinsman redeemer, if he wants to perform the Levirate marriage, good. Because now you're going to be protected, you're going to be taken care of. Right. So you see that this is true love, where it's selfless, where it's not about him. He's looking out for her best interest and the best interest of Naomi. So you see that true character of love, where he put himself out of the picture.
Yeah.
You
And you
know what
seen
I'm
that
saying?
with
He gave
all
it
of
to
them,
God.
B.
You seen that with
Naomi,
That's what I'm saying, B.
Ruth, Boaz, they're all the same.
Yep. And I think that's why she aligned herself with Naomi. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, during that time, widowhood probably she's like, yo, this is a kindred spirit here. You know what I'm saying? And then she realizing Naomi's like that because of her God.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
yo, I want some of that.
Right.
All right,
And that's how you got to look at it.
Let's finish this. I don't know where we stopped off.
14.
14. So she lay at his feet until morning, and she arose before one could recognize another. Then he said, "Do not let it be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." Also he said, "Bring the shawl that is on you and hold it." And when she held it, he measured 6 ephahs of barley and laid it on her. Then she went into the city. When she came to her mother-in-law, she said, "Is that you, my daughter?" Then she told her all that the man had done for her. And she said, "These 6 ephahs of barley he gave me, for he said to me, 'Do not go empty-handed to your mother-in-law.'" Then she said, "Sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will turn out. For the man will not rest until he has concluded the matter this day." Mm-hmm. You think he met Naomi in these 3-4 months?
No, I don't think so.
Right?
I don't think so.
Because he's even thinking about her kindness. I mean,
Right.
He's like, "Yo, take this to your mother-in-law. Don't go home empty-handed." You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
yo, this dude is
Totally
out of control.
And I'm showing you. I'm walking it.
Yeah, I'm about it.
I'm not just talking it.
Yeah, I'm about it.
And I'm gonna keep going above and beyond. Like, I'm showing you, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm showing that you're protected. And he's also telling you, dude, I'm not BSing you about. I'm gonna take care of this matter.
Right.
Like, you're here. I'm investing in you.
Yes.
Ruth is seeing those things. Ruth is seeing how this guy's communicating with you. I'm reading this. I'm like, yo, dog, this is a great picture of how you need
Court and
to
date, yeah.
understand how a man is supposed to communicate with you, how a woman is supposed to communicate with you, how they're supposed to respond.
And
How you
he's
supposed to
investing
vet.
in her without getting anything in return.
That's right.
Which is something that men nowadays, they're investing with the purpose of trying to smash or trying to do
Right.
something. So this kind of kindness, women don't even realize that nowadays.
Because the other guy could have just been like, nah, I'll do it. Now you down 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, you down 6 E5s, B. That's like
Exactly.
3
He
3
had
weeks
no
worth.
promise of getting anything in return for his kindness.
That's 3 weeks worth of food. And she'd be like, yo, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm with George now.
George got the buns.
George is like, oh, word? No.
But you know what's interesting? Because I read a commentary and like with like rabbinic traditions. I don't know how true it is or whatever, but it was mentioned about the 6 ephah, right? He said that the Holy Spirit was trying to bring out 6 for a specific reason. Like it's not just one thing it is that he over abundance trying to show that I care for you guys and I'm serious. I'm a man of my word. But also is pointing out like because
completion.
That's right. Like in terms of like
That's
how
why
God
she said she'll complete.
yeah, like God created the world on 6 days, and the 7th day He rested. And how Naomi said at the end, for this man will not rest until he concluded this matter this day. So 6 was a symbol. It was a Jewish lingo that he knew that the mother-in-law would understand. That listen, I'm not gonna stop until this matter is concluded, where I can rest on the 7th day. So it was this communication, happening between Boaz and Naomi that Ruth has no idea that's going on. She just, he gave me tons of food to give to you. And that's how she came out. Oh, I know this man. I understand his character.
And I see it. And that's what it is. It's like, that's what he was putting on the forefront all the time, dog, his character. You know what I'm saying? He was putting that in the forefront, like all the time with her, like, yo. And, like I said, Ruth being young, but just also seeing, you know what I'm saying, this guy just moving. You know what I mean? He was constantly moving and making the proper moves. And I think that was very important also to her, for her to see. Like you said, it was like, nah, dog, this guy's about his business, B. He's up, he's at it, he's moving. Like to even gather that 6, she's in the midst of this, watching this happening, and she's like, yo, something's happening. Right. She may not understand everything, but she's like, nah, B, every time I tell you something, it's boom, boom, boom. Yo, go do this, go do that. Yo, stay here, boom, boom, boom. Like direction, constant direction. And it's like I said, the same. And the thing about it is, I think she devoted herself to Naomi because Naomi had that. So it was kind of like Naomi being that, that father figure, that parent figure. And it's like you said, Boaz having the same thing. Like, I know I'm home. This is like home. Because Naomi moves the same way. You understand what I'm saying? Like, with the instruction, do this, do that, boom, 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 boom. And I think she felt like, okay, this is home. You know what I'm saying?
I think in her eyes too, she went from the what is it? From daughter, now he called a woman, right? He said, do not let it be known that a woman came to the threshing floor. So I think maybe in his eyes now she turned into a romantic connection, because now he knows that she was interested. You know what I mean? So
I don't know if it's romantic.
You don't think so?
I don't think I would put.
So,
I think it's more of just.
Well, he knew what they were. He knew what this was. This was a proposal.
Yeah, but I don't think it's romance. Like I think it's more like, again, this is to carry on legacy. This is, this is about, I don't think it was romantic.
I mean,
like the way,
word, obviously,
right. That's what I'm saying. You gotta be careful with that word.
Nowadays, what does romance mean? It means that you're interested in someone more than just a friendship. Okay.
I think at this point the emotion is involved now.
I think that there's definitely feelings here now. Remember, this is 3-4 months of her running around the fields, and he was noticing her.
And who said it? Who said it with the survey? Like, you could have a woman, if a man is treating her and providing these securities, provisions. Oh, she's gonna be. Women are attracted to that. You know what I'm saying? More than the physical.
Yes.
It's the dudes that be on the physical.
And they be coming up with stories.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So a woman,
because he's just being kind.
So a woman that understand, just based on her nature, like this man is gonna be a covering. She'll do it. So I think at this point,
I think it was both.
The feelings and the emotion are there.
I think there's that, but it's just romance is. It just sounds so filthy.
Nah.
So, Ange, if a shorty proposes, you gotta tell her to kick rocks.
First of all, if a shorty proposes,
not if she a 10. If she's a 4,
if a shorty proposes to me, that means that we probably was, in a place where I'm considering it too.
No, what if she just come out the blue?
Yo, what if she was like, yo, I watched season 1,
I watched season 1. I listened to both
season
albums.
3.
Both
I listened to all the albums,
to the albums,
and I feel a kindred spirit. I love you. Marry me.
Of course, I'm gonna say no.
Why not? You got to get to know her.
Yes. And if shut up.
There's nothing wrong
Y'all
with
be
that.
trying to catch me.
There's nothing wrong with that. I know there's nothing
What would you say if somebody hit you up in the DMs talking about, yo, the Lord told me to ask you to marry me?
I'd be like, put the wet blanket by the door, Lord. And if it's wet, when I get up in the morning, then I'm gonna listen, and then I would do it another night. And if the Lord made it wet again, then if it's dry again, then I'm like, all right, yo, we getting married, shorty.
So, Father, we just we thank you for your word. We thank you how gracious you are towards us, and just leaving these wonderful stories, giving us insight in how you see things and what pleases you and what you honor. And we read it, we discuss it, Lord, and we share it. But the overarching love story is the love that you have for us. And you showed that on the cross when you sent your son to die for us, to redeem us, to die for our sins, to cleanse us, to put the oil on us, to have us looking and feeling good, giving us a future, a hope, a security, provision, all of that you've done to us, Lord. And you convey that through this story. So we want to thank you, and anybody that hasn't realized that yet, anybody that hasn't made that decision to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, so that they could enter into that rest, so that they could enter in under your wing, under the covering. Lord, we pray that, in our discussions, it leads them to you through your word, and leads them to the cross, and leads them to make that decision. But we are just grateful. You give us this time, you give us this opportunity, and God willing, we'll be back next week. And it's in the name of Jesus Christ we pray.
Amen.
Kip.
Kip.